dear learners, today's topic is public health and sustainable sanitation. In this session, we will learn about access to water and sanitation from Millennium Development Goal to Sustainable Development Goal, understanding about sanitation with respect to Sustainable Development Goal, sanitation in India, its progress, differentials, correlates and challenges, rural sanitation in India including community-led total sanitation and Swachh Bharat mission, sustainable sanitation in urban environment and opportunities for resource recovery with certain case study. We will learn about synergies between sustainable sanitation, health and other sustainable development goal targets. United Nations Millennium Development Goals has a target to reduce half the proportion of people without access of basic sanitation by 2015. It is also indicated that drinking water and sanitation access is key to disease prevention. UN General Assembly declared 2008 as the International Year of Sanitation in recognition of slow progress of sanitation target of Millennium Development Goal. Safe and readily available water is important for public health, whether it is used for drinking, domestic use, food production or recreational purpose. Improved water supply and sanitation and better management of water resources can boost countries' economic growth and can also contribute greatly to poverty reduction. In 2010, the UN General Assembly explicitly recognized human right for access to water and sanitation. Everyone should have a right to sufficient, continuous, safe, acceptable, physically accessible and affordable water for personal and domestic use. The Sustainable Development Goals, also known as global goals, are now complementing and improving on goals which are initially outlined in Millennium Development Goals. These goals challenge all countries to ensure universal access to water, ensuring health and well-being, and achieving access to adequate and equitable sanitation and hygiene for all, and ending open defecation by 2030, while paying special attention to needs of women and girls and those in vulnerable situations. Sustainable Development Goals include behavior and structural targets for sanitation that requires 892 million people switching from open defecation to latrine use and 2.3 billion people gaining access to private latrines. Open defecation and lack of safe sanitation are associated with increased diarrhea and mortality and also associated with negative social impact amongst women and children. Diarrheal disease alone is responsible for death of 1.5 million people every year, including 360,000 children under the age of 5, mostly in low-income countries. It is estimated that 58% of diarrheal diseases can be attributed to unsafe water supply, sanitation and hygiene. According to WHO, sanitation is here defined as a system that promotes proper disposal of human and animal waste for improving and protecting public and environmental health. An improved sanitation facility is that in which hygienically separate excreta from human contact and is used by only member of one household. Toilet flushing to sewer system or septic tanks. Ventilated improved latrines, pit latrines with slab and composting toilets. According to Joint Monitoring Program of Water Supply and Sanitation by World Health Organization and UNICEF, an improved source of drinking water can be piped water into dwelling, piped water to yard or plot, public tap or standpipe, tube well or bore well, protected dug well, protected spring and rainwater. In comparison, unimproved source of drinking water are unprotected spring, unprotected dug well, cart with small drum or well, tanker tuck, surface water or bottled water. Similarly, UNICEF and WHO have also defined the improved definition for sanitation, which is flush toilet, piped sewer system, septic tank, flush or poor flush to pit latrines, ventilated improved pit latrines, which is VIP, pit latrine with the slab. They have also defined a unimproved sanitation, which is flush push to elsewhere, pit latrines without slab, bucket, hanging toilets or hanging latrines, shared sanitation, no facility or facility in bush or fields. Many institutions carry out activities to develop better sanitation and hygiene in developing countries. For example, educational institution can teach on hygiene and health institution can dedicate on resources to preventive works to avoid, for example, outbreaks of cholera. In food and biopharmaceutical industries, the term sanitary equipment means equipments that is fully cleanable using CIP, that is clean in place, and SIP, that is sterilization in place procedures. These procedures are fully drainable from cleaning solutions and other liquids. Now we will understand about sanitation situation in India. An Asian Development Bank highlighted trends in access to household sanitation and drainage in India. They have shown that successful pro-poor sanitation programs must be scaled up. Successful models must be replicated and scaled up to serve poorest of poor under existing service delivery system. Investment must be customized and targeted to those who need the most. With more than 450 million Indians living below poverty line, only a few of the poor who have inadequate sanitation can be assisted. Due to limited resource, programs should target groups or location lagging behind. Cost-effective options must be explored. Appropriate low-cost solutions offer a safe alternative to wide range of population. Higher cost options can be explored when economic growth permits. Regardless of cost, all systems should address sanitation all the way from toilet to river. Proper planning and sequencing must be applied. Investing incremental improvements is an approach that one should consider if affordability of sanitation investment is an issue. Careful planning is required to ensure that investment do not become wasteful and redundant. Community-based solution must be adopted. An approach known as community-led total sanitation has found to be effective in promoting change at community level. Efforts must address socio-cultural attitudes towards sanitation and involve women as agents of change. Innovative partnership must be forged to stimulate investment. We should stimulate investment from large range of resources from private sector, non-government organizations and consumer themselves also. This requires working with wide range of partners with innovative public-private partnership. Let us now understand what is community-led total sanitation. Community-led total sanitation is an approach for generating demands for sanitation that has quickly reached implementation for over 50 countries since it was introduced in 2000. Community-led total sanitation, it uses participatory methods to eliminate practice of open defecation in rural communities and promote latrine construction. This approach signified a fundamental shift from a focus on individual or household sanitation or to a community level concern for open defecation. At local level, selected villagers are trained to facilitate a process of communities known as triggering. In practice, triggering can be explained in three stages: pre triggering, triggering, and post triggering. Pre triggering involves selecting communities, training the facilitators, collecting baseline information, and coordinating with community entering. Second stage, triggering involves organizing a community wide meeting where facilitator conduct participatory exercises intended to trigger shame and disgust. Attendees are expected to motivated to change their attitudes toward sanitation. Post triggering involves conducting routine follow up visits with the goal to verify and certify open defecation status in communities. The triggering is designed to convince villages to form a sanitation committee that build and use their own latrines without subsidies and improve their personal hygiene. Triggered villages are followed by facilitators until they attain open defecation free status and are formally certified. Since first pilot project in Bangladesh in 2000, CLTS has been adopted by many international NGOs involved in rural sanitation and has been incorporated into national policies by many governments. It is a predominant rural sanitation behavioral change approach. Studies have shown that CLTS can reduce OD and increase access to private latrines and improve sanitation facility and also promote better hand washing practices. Let us now understand CLTS in India. CLTS in India was first introduced in Ahmednagar district of Maharashtra in 2002. During total sanitation campaign, CLTS was reportedly being used in 16 out of 35 Indian states. Apart from Sikkim, which has declared itself open defecation free, Himachal Pradesh was the first, most successful and only state to adopt a no subsidy model with a community owned agenda as a part of sustained campaign. CLTS with open defecation have been most promising in hilly states and in tribal and other small cohesive communities. CLTS have been used in 3 urban areas also, such as Kalyani in Kolkata between 2005 to 2007, Raigad in Mumbai, Maharashtra in 2008 and Nadnan in northwest Maharashtra in 2011. Let us now understand rural sanitation in India. To tackle rural sanitation, Indian government has mounted 4 campaigns in succession. The first one is in 1986, that is Central Rural Sanitation Program CSRP. Second was in 1999, Total Sanitation Campaign. Nirmal Bharat Abhiyan in 2012 and Swachh Bharat Mission for Gramin part Clean India Mission was initiated in 2nd October 2014. Swachh Bharat Mission Gramin has a target of achieving an open defecation free India in 5 years by October 2nd, 2019. Since 1986, policies have been involved for steadily increasing allocation of funds for individual household, initially referred to as a subsidy or later as a incentive. In earlier program, these were directed towards poorer household. More recently, they have been intended to support a strong emphasis on collective behavior change. Sanitation is a state subject and guidelines to give flexibility for state is to decide how they proceed and balance sequencing and allocation between the communities and households. The guidelines emphasize the need to adopt community led and community saturation approaches with a strong focus on collective behavioral change. Emphasis is also placed on awareness generation, triggering behavioral change and demand generation for entire communities. Toilets in school and other places, and solid and liquid waste management are prime focus in this mission. Swachh Bharat Mission is India's flagship and world largest sanitation programs aimed to accelerate universal access to sanitation in rural and urban area. Since its launch in 2014, Swachh Bharat Mission reports building close to 100 million toilets by the way of providing financial incentives to needy families, involving local government and communities in construction and monitoring process, and by conducting mass awareness campaign. The public health premises of sanitation is to terminate fecal oral transmission of pathogen, preventing harmful germs from entering into the human bodies. Swachh Bharat Mission instituted an effective primary barrier to this through toilet construction and promotion of toilet use. Recent studies suggest that such widespread sanitation coverage in India will improve health and human gains for children and reduce household healthcare cost. Safe and sustainable sanitation technologies, inclusive of sanitation programs, individual attitudes, social norms, and sanitation related behavior and interventions are important considerations that shape toilet use and contribute to sustaining open defecation free status, and ultimately which will affect the long term health benefit. Swachh Bharat Mission promote twin leach pits, a low cost on site sanitation technology that effectively and safely deals with excreta if constructed and used properly. Many families have installed excreta contaminant structure that simply hold but do not treat the human waste from toilets because of widespread belief that twin leach pits are for poor and fear that pits will fill quickly. So this is the drawback for this. Besides this, it's very important to maintain hygiene. Morbidity and mortality due to waterborne disease have not declined to increase in availability of potable water supply. Young children bear a huge part of burden of disease resulting from lack of hygiene. India loses zero point 0.4 to 0.5 million people under the age of 5 years due to diarrhea. Infant mortality and under 5 mortality rate have declined over the years for the country as a whole for many states, but these have stagnated in recent years. One of the reasons of failure to make significant headway in improving personal and home hygiene is especially in care of young children and conditions surrounding the birth. Hand hygiene is one of the important and cost effective public health interventions. Individuals who use toilet can still get sick if they do not wash their hand post defecation or after dealing with child excreta before cooking, feeding or eating the food also. Let us understand sustainable sanitation in context of urban environment. Sanitation is fundamental to healthy and productive urban life, and provision of sanitation service for fast growing urban population is one of the world's most urgent challenge. Large investments are needed to provide and maintain adequate sanitation systems to serve these growing cities. In addition, most urban growth is projected to occur in small and medium sized cities in developing regions. In low and middle income regions, especially smaller cities receive less support from infrastructural investment compared to major cities and capital cities. Henceforth, there is an urgent need for safe, affordable, functional as well as sustainable approach to sanitation over the long period. Sustainable sanitation are basically solutions that, apart from protecting and promoting human health, should be economically viable, socially acceptable, technical and institutionally appropriate, and should also protect the environment and natural resources. In other words, it must address economic, social, technical, institutional, environment, and natural resource dimensions in an integrated way. Sustainable sanitation is not a single technology or specific limited sanitation system design, but rather an approach where a broad set of criteria needs to be undertaken for consideration in order to achieve universal and equitable access to services over long period in a particular context. These are the European Commission in 2002. They described cross-cutting entry points for addressing sanitation in an urban environment. This indicates that sustainable sanitation must be centrally placed as a sustainability integrated within the sustainable urban development. We have opportunities for resource recovery. Many components of sanitation waste stream are potentially recoverable and reusable, for example, in agriculture or energy sector. Doing so can provide opportunities for new businesses, job creation, as well as it will also make the urban system more resource efficient. This is a conceptual overview of water resources, resource content and potential for recovering. Figures show a typical sanitation water streams, their resource content and how these resources might be utilized. The availability and marketability of resources in a given city require context specific analysis. The figure communicates a diverse opportunities. Some of these resource recovery schemes are already being implemented in several cities in the form of irrigation with wastewater, while others excreta based fertilizer, protein feed production from insect larvae grown on human feces, or fuel production from a wastewater. To ensure sustainability, it is crucial to recognize potential health risk based on understanding of potential exposure pathways. Mitigating risk of human health can be achieved both through treatment of waste and non-technical measures, that is improved hygiene habit in combination. Thus, in planning sustainable sanitation, this approach should not be centered on technology or on imperative on waste disposal, but also instead start with a focus from resources and their management. This is a framework of sustainable sanitation from a resource management perspective. The figures show how this novel order of logic for sanitation planning and design could be framed. Accordingly, the key questions that need to be addressed could be: what resources are available in the waste? What demand might be from them and how they can be recovered? Let us go into some of the case study of resource recovery. Human excreta is an alternative fertilizer that has shown a great potential. An adult on an average produces 500 liters of urine and 50 liters of feces per year, which contain nutrients equivalent to 10 kgs of synthetic fertilizer. When it is used as a fertilizer, its value is about $10, but its application represents an increase in agriculture yield of approximately $50 compared to not adding any fertilizer to at all. Anderson et al. In 2016 reported in Dakar a safe reuse of nutrient contained in urine and fecal sludge from on-site system, and organic municipal waste is to be estimated to fertilize 50,000 hectares of cultivated rice. This yield approximately 2 lakh tons of rice per year, corresponding to a quarter of annual rice imports for Senegal, significantly contributed to national food security and food sovereignty. In addition, fecal sludge together with other solid waste such as kitchen waste can be pre-treated through anaerobic digestion generating biogas which has an annual net value for 16,000 km per day of bus journeys or about 3,000 cubic meter of disease. Processed sewer and fecal sludge is being reused at various scale in different countries around the world. Likewise, biogas production through anaerobic digestion has become a widespread method for sludge processing in urban wastewater management, especially in high income settings. Sustainable sanitation is an integrated approach. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development provides important impetus for more integrated planning and development of sustainable sanitation. Sustainable sanitation with a resource recovery and reuse focus on can make cost-effective contributions for achieving wide variety of sustainable development goals and targets across development sectors. Some of the most direct synergies between sustainable sanitation and other sustainable development goal targets are as follows. Goal 6 on clean air and sanitation calls for access of adequate and equitable sanitation and for improved wastewater management, and which crucially include recycling and reuse, which sets sanitation in context of circular economy. This could relieve a large burden of infectious disease within the cities and downstream communities, which is goal 3, good health and well-being. At the same time, equitable access can contribute to social development aims and reduce risk of gender-based violence. Recovering and reusing the valuable resources present in excreta and wastewater stream also contributes to resource efficiency, which is goal 12, that is sustainable consumption and production. It will also improve the food security, which covers the goal to zero hunger. Making tomorrow's city livable, that is goal 11, sustainable cities and communities is not achievable without adequate sanitation and wastewater management. Working with the entire value chain linked to sustainable sanitation can provide new livelihood options, which is goal 1 for no poverty and goal 8 for decent work and economic growth. So in this session we have learned about access to water and sanitation from Millennium Development Goal to Sustainable Development Goal, sanitation in India, rural sanitation in India, including the community-led total sanitation and Swachh Bharat mission, sustainable sanitation in urban environment and opportunities for resource recovery with a few case studies. At the end, we also understood about synergies between sustainable sanitation, health and other sustainable development goal targets. Thank you very much.